So every time you go through one of these 28-day consciousness shifts, the system, the human system, is calibrated. And when it's calibrated every day, when you do this every day, receive these upgrades and these corrections of how to perceive reality, and it's just a different way of seeing things that sort of can open up. That's when things open up and you see clearer. That's what we mean. That's the holistic perspective. You know, when you get these like, oh, that's how it works, and things make sense. That is the holistic perspective. It's just that for a normal human indoctrinated into the dualistic perspective human being, it just takes a little while for these aha moments. They can't come all at once. They need to come in increments. Otherwise, the system will break a fuse or something. And we can testify to this. We have spun out a few times with too much energy. The first time that happened, we fainted multiple times. We couldn't handle the energy increase. Or the system was just like, whoa, this was a lot of energy, right? That's why when we do these Heya live, these sessions, you can get very dizzy and faint if you're not used to the energy. That's the thing. You gotta practice. So you don't go hard, it's quite an advanced class, we would say. We are explaining everything. We're not going in too fast or anything, but the energy that we're moving with is advanced. So it is, but one thing that you can be sure about, so that is that all of the guides and teachers, that's why we are asking for their support. One of the reasons, so that they look after you during these sessions energetically, so that you only get what you can handle, because you don't want to get too much so that you get overwhelmed, but you don't want to get too little either, so that you don't what was this about, you know? But if you're there, then there is guaranteed other perspective shifts that you will eventually see the reality. Because there is only one truth about how human energy works, really. And then there is a lot of pretend on top of that, which is what the logical perspectives are. Like when we are speaking, it's automatically sort of almost creating like a, although we are doing our best to maintain a very neutral and trying to say things from very many different angles, but a lot of the perspective that we have is not common because it's very scientific, and then it's mixed with Jesus. Like, what? That seems to not work. And it only seems to not work because you haven't seen where they interlink. That's the very epitome of the masculine feminine knower feeler imbalance. Jesus seemed to be like just something of the feeler, like, yeah, you need to believe in something, and then the logical, right? It is when those two meet that you find the truth. When those two work together. If they don't work together, then you don't have clear harmony in your life. And it's just, even in evidence you can see that. If your kids, or if you have chaos, there's guaranteed projections going on, but this is normal. Of course, that's working with kids can be a very wonderful, or it's like kids or people that have cleaned their vessel enough that they are actually daring to be like a kid again, open like that. Not a kid, you don't have to act like a kid, like you don't have to, but you just are the way that you are, and that's always enough. Because when you are who you are, then that is what will expand your light. And then your function is just, you will see what the next step is in Gaia's evolution. You can think that it's about all this other stuff, all this like, oh, my career in this, and I have to make money doing that, and all of this stuff. You can think that it's about that, but it's not only about that. And if you're just focused on that, it's imbalanced. There has to be a combination, because there's always a combination. Because Gaia is always nudging you to the fastest path to whatever it is that you're asking for. Perhaps you asked a while back. It's not always instantaneous. It depends on what you ask for. Sometimes it takes the universe a minute to cook up like your dream partner or your dream life, or there are many aspects that needs to slot into place there. You have to be a different person for that to come in. You can't just think about it. That's just thinking about it. And you will meet others that are just thinking about it. And then you can all just think about it together. And then you're combining this whole thought cloud that is not contributing to the anchoring of human consciousness through the body. You have to consult Gaia for that. And that's your feelings. Your feelings matter so much in consciousness. And some are having a lot of reasons for not going there or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the reason is. The fact is that, okay, there's an imbalance. Okay, so what can we do about it? Because once you recognize the truth and then you ask the right questions, you get movement forward. And that's what this is all about. We're here to move forward in consciousness. And all of these 28 days, they accumulate. But if you are sitting and just dreaming about it, doing the things that you think that you have to do, dreaming about getting a camper perhaps, we certainly have, and now we're doing it, which we love, but it has been a lot of energies to clear as well. There's been a lot of personal development is what you call it, and that is simply seeing what's needed for the harmony of us with us. Are we getting too caught up with other people's things? Like there was a lot of that in the last cycle. And so that's why in these 28 days we have already received sort of the next plan from them. What we are to focus on. And this is how we work together. Because when you are in harmony with your knower, which is the intellect, the one that's supposed to know, which doesn't always. And then your body, your feelings, your... How well are you connected to that? Are you only sitting on a computer working all day? That's unbalanced, unless you are counteracting it with swimming, getting sun, getting a massage, like any body activity that infuses the body with more joy and more vitality, really. So that's really, and we are doing the best that we can to balance out this, given everything combined, everything that we're working on, everything that we are encountering, all of the things of the body that we know now, because we know now, and so we need to walk, because if we see, we have to walk what we see. Otherwise, what's the purpose of knowing if you're not going to apply the knowledge? So we have to apply the knowledge, otherwise the knowledge goes away. That's also the reason why you share, because you share the things that you want to keep active in your vibration. Because when you share the things that of course you can talk, but like we're talking general, and you can resolve things, like it's not like, oh, I can't say anything. It's not like that at all. You need, if that's the thing, then you need to speak. Like there needs to be a flow of that speech. And if you have to go through all of the different people in your life and straighten out the energy, that's what you have to do. If they keep showing up in your life and you keep feeling this way or that way or the other, or you blame them or whatever, doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. But it needs to be harmonized. It needs to be corrected in the mind. Once you are correcting it in the mind and you are seeing accurately from your vantage points, from your angle, from where you are coming from, and you are seeing the reality of what that experience was meant to be for you, the catalyst for your growth. Challenging people are catalysts for our growth. Our last relationship was a very challenging one. We learned a lot and we are very grateful, and it was a catalyst for our springboard, because it was not for us. It was for us to get that you don't do that with yourself. You don't do that, you don't do that. And now we know better. That was our wake-up call. Many people go through near-death experience before they have this wake-up call. We didn't go through a direct near-death experience, although it certainly felt like a prolonged near-death experience. Because we didn't see any way out the way that we were operating our system. And that's what kept us in there. Until we realized that, hang on a minute. We could always feel this, but we were confused with like, which of all of these signals are actually our source here? Because it was like this being is now suddenly seeing something in opposition to what I'm feeling. Like, what's going on here? It was just odd. And it was because we needed to speak up for ourselves. We, I am through the body. We look at, sometimes we say I, we also get affected a little bit by this other way of saying it if we are speaking with other people. But we are looking at this system more of the body has its own consciousness, because that's the feelings. And it's important to know so that you know how to operate your body. It's just the same as looking after a dog. Very, very, very similar, actually. But many beings are not connected to their body in that way. So they have a partner that they have outsourced that. It is really a projection most couples are going through. We don't want to play that game anymore. We don't want to project anything. We want to stay and we want to follow what the body feels, because we know that that's Gaia. And so we, the I am, is in service to the body. That doesn't mean that we are accepting whatever crap from women, because it seems like when you're in service to the feminine that you're supposed to do what the feminine says, which is a woman. No, we have to get this right. The feminine is your body. It doesn't matter if you are a man or a woman. This is the fact, always. When you are operating in the split mind, then you're more thinking in terms of man, woman, divine masculine, divine feminine. It's a little bit like that. Because masculine and feminine in the gender part, if you have that confused, and many have, we know that many people that are talking about that don't feel incongruent. They feel for our body like they're actually talking about genders, so they're mixing them, and many beings can have that. And this whole indoctrination have been that. Cowboys and Indians, like man and women have been separated so much in consciousness deliberately by all of these cowboys and Indian type of thing. It just starts like that. And then women do this and men do that. It's a whole thing. That is what we're here to correct. It's very deep. It's not just done in one day. That's why we have these 28-day cycles that we do shifts every single day with channelings and corrections every single day. And we know that that might be a little bit of a big step for some people to just jump right into something like that, knowing what it actually is. There's a lot of beings that I've gone through the program, just going through 28 days and like, okay, I'm done, did that, got the t-shirt. They have completely misunderstood what we're saying. This is something that needs to be maintained for you to reap the benefits that we are talking about. This is not a logical thing that you can just know, because unless you do it, you're not going to get the next step. That's why it's so important with this balance, because unless you have that correct, you don't receive the next step, because you're not going to see clearly. You have fog in your brain, so to speak. You see, that's why we have to practice every single day, and that's why, to give you a taste of what is possible to feel within your body, we're inviting you to sign up for a Heya Live. All of what we have been talking about, there is a link below and in the bio. You can find out all of it there. The 28-day consciousness shifts, they are the Ascension program. And we highly recommend that you join our WhatsApp group for the events, the Heya Live events. Once you join, you won't see anything, because you only see what is coming from when you joined. So don't expect to see a whole bunch of stuff there when you come, but we will post weekly at the very least, and we will update you whenever there's changes, and we're looking forward to giving you a good experience. This is not something that we can decide. It is you with your consciousness that decides what will happen. But we are providing you the space and the energetic container that it can happen. We're sending you so much love, and we're looking forward to talking to you again in the next one. Take care. Ciao.